Hello, this is Doug Panchishan from DougPan.com. One of my students named Joe asked if I could create an application quickly that would allow a user to click a single button and an email would be sent at his request to contact us. So let's go ahead and show you how to do that. We'll start up Xcode and we'll go File, New, Project, and we'll choose a single view application and we'll call this Send Mail. Choose Next and we'll create that on our desktop. The first thing that we have to do is import a framework in order for us to be able to do that. So we'll go into our build phases and our link library with libraries here. We'll hit the plus button and look for messages. And here's our message UI framework, and we'll simply drag that into our frameworks just to keep things nice and clean. Next, we'll add a button to our view, and so we'll search for button and we'll drag that onto our view. And we'll call this Contact Us. Then we'll go into our assistant editor here, control, click, and drag in order to create an action, which will create a method, and we'll call this Send Mail as well. So that's now sitting down here for us to fill in our implementation code. The first thing that we want to remember to do, if we're going to act as a delegate toward this, is we're going to have to go back into our .h file for our interface, and we're going to need to import our message UI, and we're going to have to specify that we are going to act as a delegate for our MF Mail Compose View delegate. Now we can call all of the methods in there after we do one very important thing. Inside of our .m file, we want to instantiate this MF Mail Compose View controller inside of our code. So we'll do that first. MF Mail Compose View controller, and we'll create an item called Mail, and we'll make that MF Mail Compose View controller, and we'll allocate that and we'll initialize it. Let's clean this up so we can see things a little bit better. File again. Now, normally when we send out an email, we're going to need the persons that we're going to be able to send it to, so those would be recipients, and we're going to have to identify what the subject is and what the message body is. So the first thing we need to do is set up an NS array in case there is more than one person we want to send to. So that's why the Mail Compose View controller needs an array, so that we can send more than one if we need to. Otherwise, we can just pass it a string. So we're going to call this recipients, and we're going to make that equal to an NS array, and we're going to call the methods for array with object. And the object that we're going to send it is an email address. This guy at gmail.com. Now, I don't know if that guy exists, but be careful. I don't recommend you sending to that one. Send it to yourself in order to test out your application. Now, there's something that you need to remember. If you're running this in the simulator, you don't have email set up in your simulator, so you'll actually have to try this on your iPhone. Next, we need to identify the fact that this code self is going to be acting as the Mail Compose delegate. So we're going to go mail compose delegate is equal to self. This is so that we can call the functions that are available to us. One of those functions, for instance, is set the subject. Another one is set message body. And we also have to be able to set the to recipient who we're going to be sending to. Now that that's done, we can say mail set the subject equal to hello. Oops, I missed a quote here. Go to the end. And another one is mail set message body. And we're going to send a little message saying I have a story to tell. Now is the time for all good men to, actually all good iOS developers to come to the aid of dougpan.com. And is this an HTML format? No, it's not. And then what we need to do is we have to say, okay, present this view controller so that the person can say press send or cancel or modify the message if they want to next. So we're going to say self present view controller mail. Is it animated? Yes, why not? Completion, we'll just say null. Now this will work. Oops, I think I'm missing something. Oh yes, we have to specify who the recipients are. So let's do that first. We'll go back up here and we'll go mail and we'll set the two recipients to, what do we call it up here? Recipients. There we go. Now this code will run, it will work, but if we hit cancel, if we hit send, this view controller, this item that we have, MF Mail Compose View Controller, will appear, but after we click on send or if we hit cancel, it'll still stay there. It makes much more sense for it to disappear. But let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. There we are. We hit contact us. Up comes our dialog for us to send out an email. And we can click on cancel and we can say delete the draft, but it stays there. We can say send and it still stays there. So what do we need to do? Well, there is an optional method that we can call, and in order to do that, in order to call that, I know it's a void method and it has to do with mail. There we go, mail compose controller, and we can implement the capability to say self dismiss view controller, animated yes, and completion null, and so now that will dismiss it. Now let's run and see what happens. What this should do is if we hit cancel, it should ask us if we want to save it or not. If we answer no, it should dismiss it and should take us back to our button. So contact us, we'll hit cancel, delete the draft, there we go, there we're back. There we go again, we'll hit send and now it disappears. The email should have sent. Now again, remember that this is a simulator and email is not implemented here, so you have to have email implemented. So I suggest in order to really give this a try is to install this as an app on your iPhone or iOS device. And there you go.